like that, we pop in. And Cobus, you are frozen. Is it you or me? I'm not
I
really
think
sure.
it might be you. I'm getting the sound badly from your side. Let me quickly double check on my end.
Okay, no, it could easily be
Um,
me. It could easily be me. I have a few things running in the background, and my internet may be problematic to say the least. But I think we're
yeah,
okay now. I think we're okay now. So
no, my
no,
one seems fine. Yeah,
okay,
no,
good.
it's not
So
me. It's you, Darko. Sorry, your turn to be the one making something bad.
by the way, in the last week, my internet provider, you know who you are, has been horrible. I've been struggling with internet quality like crazy. Like I've been having popping in and out. It was just so bad. But okay. Cobus,
Welcome.
welcome. Tell us where are we? What is this? What is
What
this?
is this? I think this is not the white void of conference video
No.
recordings. This is the weekly DevBeardOps show, where it's the beard on the inside that counts, people. You don't have to have
Yes.
a beard like us, but it's the mindset. It's
It's
the
the mindset.
thinking about things, automating things. So DevBeardOps is our weekly show where we talk about automation, DevOps, AWS, cloud ideas, and
Yeah.
sometimes we veer into things like testing and underwear, but we'll leave that for those that can look at one of our past videos. That was a fun one that we had. And
Exactly.
along the way, we try and have fun. And the whole point of this show is that we want to chat with you as we go along. And the whole idea is interactive discussions around things. We don't want to just blast things your way and, hope you absorb them. Chat to
Exactly.
us.
Exactly. Do let us know. We're here open in the chat. Please let us know. Is our audio okay? Is my video broken? And Cobus is not. I love your mug, Cobus.
Thank
So,
you.
and welcome back to folks who have been here before. Impulsum, we've seen you before. Satya is back. Flexion is
Mm,
back. Tom Telecom is back. Hello, hi, welcome back.
yeah.
And we get to recognize the names here a lot, right? Thanks for coming. Do let us know where you're joining us from. We like to hear. We have a lot of folks saying good morning and good afternoons and all the stuff. So.
In
Please
good
do
middle of
let
the
us
night.
middle of the nights. Please do let us know where you're joining us from. So we are just aware. Are we waking you up or are we sending you back to sleep? So
Yeah. No, but
um,
I mean, Darko, this is actually my favorite mug. As I went to specifically fetch it. It's
okay.
let me see if you can focus on it there. Come camera. There we
Mm-hmm.
go. It's offers in as a local recruitment company. That's beside the point, but they do awesome artwork, and they did this specifically for the
Beautiful,
first DevOps days that we hosted. It's a combination of the Nyan cat and the Docker whale. Um,
beautiful, beautiful. I love me some combined memes.
oh yeah,
Not that I'm saying the Docker whale is a meme, but yeah. All right, we have folks from China here. We have Shaw 1005 from China. We have Impulsum from Manchester, UK. Excellent. Hello all. Um, Now, speaking of the beards, is a beard a metaphor in this case that you focus
it
only on the
could be.
important things and the beard is just like growing? Is that kind of the thing?
Mm,
I don't know. I don't know.
it's like all good things. It takes time.
It takes time.
Um,
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, trust me, getting a beard this level is a lot of effort. You have to not do anything for years.
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue in this case, as well as when it comes to deploying infrastructure. It takes patience, and
Mm.
you should not go ahead and try to stop it or change it in the mid-flight because then you get a bad beard. Okay, enough about beard metaphors. Kubus, what are we actually going to be looking into today?
We are going to continue our adventures in Lightsail. And I know that because I've been slightly distracted here on my left, getting our backdrop ready because I forgot to do that. I didn't do all my
Nah,
homework for today's session.
no, that's okay. That's okay. We're going to figure out the backdrop. But today, actually, if you've been here last week we talked about Amazon Lightsail.
Mm.
uh, Service, feature, things, stuff that basically gives you the ability to launch simple back to basics resources on top of AWS account in a
Yeah.
in a very very simple way. So, and last week we looked into EC2 instances, so the way you can run your web servers, your WordPress instances, all of those fun things. And we also had a look at the new feature called, what is it called? Lightsail Object Storage. Basically S3 for Lightsail. It's a simple way to store your files,
Mm.
objects, whatever, inside of the cloud without having to actually think about too much about S3. So that is pretty cool. I see we have folks here on LinkedIn as well. Hello, folks for LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yes, we're this is also one of the let's try to stream on LinkedIn as well to see how that works. So thank you, LinkedIn user. We cannot see your name, but hello, LinkedIn user.
Yeah, I actually applied to have my LinkedIn streaming enabled because I found out you can't just use it. You have to
Oh, really?
submit a form to say, please, can I stream? Yeah.
Interesting. I just used
Yeah.
it, so for me, it kind of works. So
Yeah. And just quickly to address this fun comment, we are actually hemispherically appropriately dressed.
yes,
Darko is in Berlin. He is in summer. I'm
exactly.
in South Africa, in Cape Town. I'm in winter. It is actually cold for a change. Cold, I mean, it's 14 Celsius, so it's not that cold, but yeah, it is cold enough to want a hoodie.
Exactly. So yeah. Shaw 1005 says regarding Lightsail, using Lightsail
that's
for
a
almost
nice
a year
one, yeah.
saved more than 50% of a budget. That's amazing, right? So
Yeah.
it's a great tool. I wouldn't say just for saving money, but an easy way to get into AWS. And one of the things that I get from my friends who are not your DevOps engineers or what you call them is like, oh, I want to host a website on Amazon, but it's just too complicated.
Yeah.
And that's not a wrong thing, he says. AWS is complicated. It can get complex. There's 200 plus services, and Lightsail gives you the ability to do things that are fun and cool in a relatively simple way. So that's the whole point here, right?
I mean, it's a different approach for different needs. I mean, some people want to build things from the ground up, like
Yeah.
give me a full virtual machine and let me do whatever I want on it. And then you get people on the complete other side of the spectrum, like, I just want to write business logic code, serverless style.
Yeah.
And there's everything in between. And then, so that's the x-axis. Then on the y-axis, I've got one thing that I want to run, a single
Yeah.
service, nothing else, little monolith app. It gets 10 views a month. That's it. And
Yeah.
then you get the other side with super large customers like Netflix with, I don't know how many instances they even run. It's lots, is all I can say.
It's
Yeah.
lots. So here's an interesting discussion in the chat between Gert25 and Jabasoft. Gert says
I'm
it's
offended.
Gert says it's a great Lightsail is great for cheap WordPress deployments, and you can terraform it. The Jabasoft says, is terraform a banned word here?
Oh, no.
So this
no,
gentleman
no, no,
here,
no.
I think his his religion
I can
is
chill some
Terraform.
things now. I've got where's my playlist for Terraform? I actually have some Terraform videos for you. They're
Yes.
not super in detail, but let me paste that for you just to show that yes, I'm a big Terraform lover.
Yeah.
I started using it at 0.6.
There you go.
There's the link for some proof that we love Terraform here.
Exactly. Check it out. Kubus, he likes Terraform. I've actually played with Terraform a lot, and I like the way it's written. So Terraform is definitely not a banned word. Terraform is a lovely piece of software. Let me get this straight. Every piece of software that helps you get to do what you do is amazing. So nothing is banned. So please.
And Darko, your trademark question: should you use Terraform or CDK or CloudFormation?
Yes. That is the answer. You should use
Yes.
Terraform or CDK or CloudFormation or CDK or Pulumi
Yeah.
or Troposphere.
You use the one that makes sense. I mean, my standard advice there is play at least with two to get
Yeah.
the feel for the difference there. But yeah,
Shaw 1005. Anyone upgrade to WordPress 5.8? This was actually a point that came up last stream. So if you missed this stream, check out twitch.tv/AWS and videos. There's a video of this exact same stream, but playing around with WordPress. We actually updated our WordPress instance to the latest version. I'm not sure if it was the 5.8, but it was a manual upgrade in a sense that I had to go to the WordPress console and click the update button. It finished in a couple of seconds, but it was updated to the latest version of WordPress. So yeah, it's like that. You cannot launch it as 5.8. That's a problem.
yeah.
But you can update it as soon as it launches. All right. So with that out of the way,
What are we doing today, Darko?
yeah, today we decided to kind of check out some other things, right? So let me actually open up the thing I have here.
The browser.
the
thingy.
browser.
The thing that connects to the internet pipes.
Yes. So this is your Amazon Lightsail thingy, right? And we kind of alluded last time what we're going to be looking into today. And if you checked us on social media, I've also written that we're going to have a look into some databases and some networking, right? There's different things Lightsail can do, right? Last time we looked at instances, we looked at containers, and we looked at storage.
Yeah.
But now let's look at databases. And let's look at something else here, like load balancers, CDNs. I was told that this is very easy to set up. So we can actually check it out. How can this work, right? So what is... Actually, let me come back to you guys. When it comes to databases, how do you do databases on AWS?
Classic answer. It depends.
It depends, absolutely.
What do you want to do? So I would say the first question that becomes like, what flavor of database do you want? Are you on the relational side of the world, or are you on one of the many different NoSQL versions? Is it key value, document store, ledger style?
Correct.
Lots of questions over there. So let's say we say, cool, we're on the relational side, because relational databases are still very much in use in a lot of applications out there. So then it becomes a question, okay, which RDBMS flavor are you using? Is it an open source version like Maria or MySQL or Postgres? Or is it a commercial version like Microsoft SQL, Oracle? I'm actually stumped. Microsoft, Oracle, what are the other SQL proprietary ones? Like you pay for? I'm trying to think now.
I think it's Oracle and Microsoft SQL. That's the only ones I
think so. Yeah.
Chat, do you know any other proprietary databases besides Oracle and Microsoft SQL out there? Okay, so DB2.
Okay.
IBM DB2. Yeah, DB2. There you go. That's something I used a long time ago.
I don't think I've touched DB2 directly.
Is Foxpro a thing anymore?
Oh,
Foxpro. I remember Foxpro from like its little fox icon.
That's a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh, it's a language. Oh, sorry. It's a DBMS, right? Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah. But I mean, so from that perspective, then it comes down to saying, okay, cool. What do you want to spend your time on? Do you want to spend time on modeling your application and modeling the data and figuring out access patterns, or are you a DBA that you want to focus on actually running the instance, tuning it perfectly, having full grain control? So that's kind of like where you start, the path starts diverging. Do you want to go for a managed database, or do you want to roll your own and manage everything yourself?
Exactly. So, and one of the ways, especially when you choose a relational database on top of AWS, right? So, one of the ways people approach relational databases on top of AWS is the service called RDS, or Relational Database Service. Relational Database Service is a fully managed service that gives you the ability to launch, maintain, update, backup, operate on relational databases. So you click a button, you configure a bunch of things, and well, bam, you have a database running inside of your account.
Yeah,
which is wonderful, right? And it's a very robust system. You can run your Auroras, which is MySQL / Postgres compatible database built for the cloud. You can run your MySQLs, you can run your Postgres, you can run your Oracle databases, you can run your Microsoft SQL databases there. And there's a lot of things around it. There's a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of things you can configure. But a lot of times, you just need a database, right? You just need a simple MySQL, Postgres database, and that's it, right?
Set and forget.
Set and forget. But you still want it to be fully managed. You still want it to be highly available. You want to do all of those things. Enter databases on Amazon Lightsail. This is just a really neat way to create a database. Now, I haven't played around with too much. I've actually created a single database here, as you can see, but I haven't done a lot to it, right? So, and to answer the question from Gert here, is this database deployed in Lightsail visible in RDS? I don't think so. So
no, although all the resources in Lightsail are actually not visible in your account, because while they use the underlying AWS services, the whole point is to shield you from them. Because we want to keep it nice and simple for you, so it won't show up. RSD.
If I go to Frankfurt, RDS, I should not be able to see a database here. If it's like the same, see, no DB instances running. There's nothing here. So this database is running within AWS. I'm pretty sure it's on RDS, but it's not within your account like this, right? It's here. So that's the whole point. So let's actually try to create one, right? And this is the thing. It is very simple. Big yellow button. Choose your AZ, right? choose your region and availability zone. You can change it here, right? This is how it works. You can change actually your AZs here. Now here's the thing: does this create a highly available thing cross region? I don't think so. I think this is running explicitly in a single region.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I don't think, because
So
I mean the zone A gives it away. Change your availability zone. If you only pick
Yeah.
one, that means it's a specific single. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so single zone. I get to pick database types. Currently, these are the supported ones, and to be honest, this is sufficient for a lot of people, right? For a lot of workloads, this is just fine. So let's go ahead with MySQL. Let's use the latest version. Why not? And then you can do a couple of things. You can change the login credentials. Like you can change your user here to Kubus, right? And the password is, I can actually, I don't like this. I have to type the password here. So create a strong
Super
password for
secret
me, please.
77.
Yeah. Here you go. Choose your database availability plan. So if you pick high availability, it will actually provision it to multiple places. So
Multiple
looking at this
availability
thing,
zones. Yeah.
choose between high availability standard database plans. We recommend high availability databases for production workloads, right? Because if you choose standards, it's going to create a single database entity in a single availability zone, right? So let's go with standard for now. Well, actually, no. Let's do this. Let's do high availability.
And quickly, just here on the availability, I know everybody is keen to have a highly available database that automatically fails over and does magic, but as you can see here, it literally doubles the price because you've got an exact second copy that's running the whole time, replicating data and running the entire time. Always ask the question, what is your mean time to the recovery that you need?
Yeah.
Is your app one where if you're down for half an hour, it's fine, or if you're down for an hour, it's fine?
Yeah.
Then you can get away with a cheaper version. Make sure you've got backupping and snapshotting. Use that. Otherwise, if you need to be like super highly available, go for the HA.
That's always a very important question you need to ask yourselves, but not just yourself as a DevOps engineer or a sysadmin, sysops, whatever. Ask the people you're supporting, right? Ask your developers. Ask your business. What happens if this application doesn't run for a day, or doesn't run for an hour, or doesn't run for X? What is the impact of it? Right? If they say, well, if this application goes down for 2 hours, nobody will notice.
Yeah.
You cut your cost in half. So, this is where you have to, this is your strategic approach to things. And as an engineer who would just listen to what people will tell him and get into complete messes of things. Like I had people tell me, oh, we need to have a 100% uptime. Just that we cannot go down. That's impossible for a workload that's not really important, but they value their workload. So if you try to do this, go crazy. Like you cannot do 100% uptime, you just can't. But you can invest a lot of money and a lot of effort to make it very highly available. But is that the thing you need? So think about it. But let's go for high availability, right? Let's do this. Let's spend more money. So it says if you need to import more than 20 gigs of data, we recommend using a larger database plan. So it actually changes 10 gigs, 20 gigs, 85 gigs, and your import may be slowed if you need to transfer more than 156 gigs of data. Interesting. I think this has to do with storage sizes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the throughput possibly.
Yeah, or the transfer. I don't know. Something.
I'm trying to remember offhand now, but I think this was one of those things, unfortunately, where because Lightsail is fixed pricing, so you know what it costs per month at a flat rate. It doesn't have our standard billing, which works out. And just digging a little bit into Molivo's question around the pricing is that because it's fixed pricing, it means that we don't charge you per gig in and out like we do with normal like ingress and egress of data. With the caveat, we've unfortunately had people then abuse that because as soon as you say something costs X, they do the math and they say, oh, it's cheaper if I pump 80 terabytes through one Lightsail instance that is meant to only support that. So there are unfortunately then throttling and limits and things that do kick in on certain sizes of things.
Yeah. So to answer, and Molivo, is it cheaper to use Lightsail as a bundle rather than each service individually? No. I mean, Lightsail is very transparent when it comes to its pricing, and each of the little bits of Lightsail you pick, that's the price you pay. There's no bundle price for it. However, if your workload grows over a certain amount of of scale, you may want to look into, is it cheaper to run it on a reserved instance on top of EC2 or a reserved instance on top of RDS, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, cool. So we choose this one. We give it a name, Big Boy, and that's it.
Create a database. This is so much easier than asking someone to put the CD for Microsoft SQL Server in the right rack server. Been there, done that.
I've done that. I've actually worked with people who had to get CDs into racks and like, oh, let me.
Yep. before they made the installable packages. I mean, that was like when I could pull the install from the network. That was like, wow.
Yeah.
or at least Mountain ISO. It was just like, yeah.
There's a great question here from As Vincent. First of all, Earl George, hello, hi, welcome to the stream. As Vincent asks, Pedro will come back to you in a second. As Vincent, does Amazon maintain any of the Terraform provider code? How are Lightsail resources prioritized related to other resources?
Short answer is no. It is provided. It's the official one, but it's maintained by HashiCorp themselves. Yeah.
So we don't do any prioritization in this case. It's just. Are you when you say resources, are you talking about Terraform resources and development of the Terraform code towards specific service? I don't think there's any prioritization. And also when it comes to like resources on EC2, it's the same priority. Doesn't really matter. Pedram, let's answer your question while this is spinning up. Is the SLA of these database instances the same as EC2 instances? I guess an SLA would be then on an hourly basis. Am I right? E.g., the server could be down 10 minutes each hour. I don't know. Do we have an SLA defined for RDS?
We do.
So not RDS.
Lightsail.
RDS, Lightsail, SLA. There is an SLA for RDS. There is Lightsail managed databases. There you go. So,
cool.
Monthly uptime percentage. See, there is the information here on the SLA when it comes to managed database services for Lightsail. So that's what you get. If you want to get more into SLAs, basically there's an entire page on SLAs for each of the services. If you want to check it out, I'm actually going to paste it here in chat. So if you want to check it out and read this after we're done, please do so. Another question here from Cloudcrawler. Is Lightsail a good fit for WordPress? Absolutely. It's just chef's kiss for Lightsail for WordPress, right? If you want to launch a WordPress website on Lightsail, click the Create Instance button, choose a region, choose WordPress, choose how much you want to pay per month, and bam, all of a sudden you have WordPress. So pretty easy.
I mean, I used to set that up on VPS providers back in the day with, what was it? I think cPanel.
cPanel.
Yeah, good old days. I still actually have something running on cPanel at one place. But I mean, it was just getting the, the FCGI FMPEG, or not the FMPEG, the F something. FCGI plugin for Apache installed to make PHP actually run faster via, I think it was with Apache, or was it with Apache, not Nginx. I just remember that being a headache. Getting that installed properly is like
PHP
copying things. Yeah, that one.
That's the caching layer, right? FPM is caching. No. FPM is caching. Yes. So
I was just like, no. I was just like, I'm way past that point. I want to go clicky run.
Yeah. By the way, we have some new folks joining us here. Hello and welcome. This is DevBeardOps, where two bald, bearded guys like to talk about DevOps, cloud, automation, and everything in between. Today's topic is a continuation of last week's topic on Amazon Lightsail. Last week, we looked into instances, containers, and storage. Today, we look into databases and some networking parts. So, what we have done so far is we have launched this database, Big Boy here, basically a simple MySQL database on top of Lightsail. But, it takes a while. It's just ridiculous how long it takes sometimes. let's actually have a look at this thing. So this is a database I've created before the stream, and it's simple. You have a database username, you have the password, which I'm not going to show to you, and there is the endpoint.
Hunter2.
Hunter2. Can you see it? It says Hunter2 here, right?
Yeah.
You get this endpoint, and also by default, the public mode is disabled, right? So this public mode is disabled. What does this public mode mean?
Hello world, here's my DB.
Yeah, exactly. Hello world, this is my database. Please try to connect to it, right? So now you can technically connect to this big old long string here, which is a horrible URL. But you can technically connect to it if you know the password and username. So I'm actually going to connect to it, right? So let me do something here. I actually have a second computer. Hello world, meet my other computer here, which I'm going to be using my command line magic to connect to this thing. So I'm using just your run-of-the-mill MySQL client here, and just to show that this thing works. Hunter2, perfect. Here, it has connected. I have connected to this MySQL database. If I do, what is it? How do you show databases? Show databases. Yes. Okay. So you see the database is present here. It's your typical MySQL layout. If you do use DB master and you show tables, you see there's a table there. I mean, it's a MySQL database, nothing else. Like, again, you just get this big old connection string, this URL, and you're free to use it in wherever you want. So it is wonderful, right? So I think just the simplicity of this thing, and also like being able to change your password and this stuff here is just great. You also have access to your logs. This is great. Slow query log. Cobus, do you know what slow query logs are?
Slow or show?
Slow.
Slow
Query
Actually,
logs.
no. My experience is more with Microsoft SQL.
So slow query log is just an ability of MySQL, and I think some other engines as well, to basically log all queries that took longer than X.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
I'm using Profiler for that.
Exactly. So this is something that you can enable in MySQL. And if somebody says like, "Oh, the application is just working bad," you just open up your slow query log and like look at the logs, which took a lot of time. So you have this built in. You can just flip it here, and you can modify it by changing this value in the database. So
although
these things.
A little bit of advice there: the slowest query is not always the one you want to optimize. It's the time taken multiplied by the number of times it's actually called. Because that's the one that takes up the most time in total.
Correct. This is unfortunately not a live table. I cannot like show you any slow logs or anything like that. But if we had some slow logs, we could potentially see here, and you can do something against it and get some cool stuff out of it. You have your metrics, right? Your standard graphs. You can create alarms. Now these alarms are great because there are some built-in ones like CPU utilization ones. And I think that's the only one you can have. That's it. Yeah, that's the only one. Is this it? Is this it? There's no more. Wow. I would have thought there would be more different alarms. 2 alarms per metric. No, sorry. More metrics.
Just double check that you've got the right screen shared because we're still on your console.
Yeah. Oh, right. Fuck.
Gesundheit.
The other screen. Yes, I like to show stuff, but 2 computers. So logs and history, right? This is how your slow query logs look. This is the slow. When you just flip it on, you get your slow query log. It's currently disabled by default. If I enable it, it's just going to take a long time for it to configure, so I don't want to look into that. Then metrics. These are your run-of-the-mill CPU utilization metrics. You can create alarms per metric, like if your CPU utilization goes over X, which is cool. But there's actually more metrics, like disk queue depth, connection, database connections, free storage space. These things are also very cool, right? So there's like a one connection from my other computer, and that's it. So it's all kind of built in. It's here. The networking part. This is basically the thing where you flip it to be public or not. And snapshots. This is wonderful.
Yes.
Cobus, can you tell us about your time?
You mean my second day of my first job?
Yes. Tell us about 800,645 rows affected.
It was only 550 something thousand, but yeah, it's literally so. When I started my job, it's day one was literally setting up your computer because it was a little startup. So there was
Yep.
two 17-inch 4:3 ratio CRT screens, and I thought like, wow, this place is nice. I'm getting two 17-inch screens. This is huge. First
Yeah.
thing. So the first day was literally spent building up my PC, installing operating system, getting everything done, and then second day was okay. Now we're going to start working, and the task was figure out people abusing the system. So
Yeah.
I wrote this lovely query, ran it, and locked everybody out of the database. We did have backups, but they are backups once a day.
Okay.
So this is a transactional system that was very busy. So the once a day, that's when we also realized we might want to change that. But yeah, couldn't use backups. So
Okay.
that was my first experience with backups, and why just having a backup doesn't mean you are backed up.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, having this ability here to just go and like, hey, I want to create a snapshot. Boom. Before you do something bad, and then
Yep.
you can easily restore to that snapshot, right?
Mm.
So this
But I mean,
this is pretty cool.
the thing there that is interesting is the emergency restore. If we just wait for this to finish,
Yeah.
where they do 5-minute incremental backups for the last week, so you can jump back into any one of that. I remember, I think was it MySQL that brought out that feature as at, I think is the keyword you use. It's one where you actually can run a query against the database at a specific point in time and say, run this query as at yesterday, 12:15.
Oh, that's very cool. Now,
Yeah.
Kubus or chat, how do you delete the table is it drop table?
No, Darker. You invite Bobby Tables over.
Yeah, Bobby tables. How does the little Bobby tables? Stream demo, right? So this is how you drop a table. Delete
Yeah.
a table. Yeah, I'm not a DBA, so okay.
Yeah.
So show tables. All right, no tables. Imagine this is Cobus's first day, right? So he did something. Now this was luckily an empty database, but once this snapshot is complete, we should be able to restore this hopefully in a pre Bobby tables scenario. And for you don't get the Bobby tables scenario, Bobby tables reference. It's an amazing XKCD comic, little Bobby
Yeah.
tables. So yeah, I actually seen somebody like put like on their car, on their bumper,
Number plate,
like
yeah.
select table from drop. Yeah. Oh, while this is happening, before we go to the next part, I want to tell you one of the first database experience I've had as a young kid.
Ooh.
So, and this is. I
What do you
wouldn't call
mean?
this
You're still a young kid, Darko.
Yeah,
You're lucky
yeah,
to be on
yeah.
my lawn.
Yeah, get off. Yeah, Gramps. Okay, boomer. So when I was a kid in high school, I figured out something. I heard about a thing called SQL injection. Right?
Ooh.
SQL injection is when you get to insert SQL code into your standard login field, right? So, like, if you would have, I don't know, somewhere like to log in, like this field. This is not a login field, but like if you would have like a little field to enter some data in, well, I have no field. Like, for example, here, yes, instead of putting like raw data, you can put a SQL statement here. And that was a long time ago. That was 2004, right? And
It's still a thing some places.
it's still a thing some places, right? But what I did there as a young kid is I went to my local ISP, and they had a homebrew webmail client, and I'm like, would this work here? So I went in like went to the webmail UI, typed in admin, webmin, whatever was the thing there, and just for the password I typed I just did a little blank. Yeah, so I did like a two little single quotes with a blank thing in front, or 1 = 1, and then the semicolon, yeah, and bam, all of a sudden I'm logged into a dumb email account. It's because you pass a raw SQL statement
Yeah.
to a system. It doesn't sanitize a SQL statement. It's just like, oh, this is a SQL statement. It's true. 1 is equal to 1, and let the people in.
Just to clarify, what it does is literally like when you code, normally let's say a SQL statement you want to run select star from table
Yes.
X where Y equals something. That you would have the code actually inject that value and then pass it and prepare the query for you. Where what this happens is that people don't do that. They literally have string, which is select statement,
Yes.
close the quote, plus variable of the string coming in, plus let's say some other stuff. And then what happens is because you can then add that little bit of text, it actually finishes that first SQL statement and then starts a second one after the semicolon, which means that that's still given to the server, run this as one chunk. And that's how you do it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of my first engagement with SQL. I'm like, okay, this can be abused. So let's actually try to see if we can roll back, right? So Bobby Tables has come in, deleted all the databases. That's bad. That's horrible. Let's go back 10 minutes.
Yep.
And the thing that this is going to do, it's actually going to restore to a new database. This can be good. Like I can do database 2 restored. This will not restore to your existing database, right? So your existing connections will still hit the old database, which is good because you may break something in the new database, which your application may have deleted. Maybe Bobby Tables is still in your database and you want your data back. So you really want to make sure to restore it somewhere else you can access it and then perform the restoration process manually if it's needed to be, right? So,
but I mean, it's also it's a time travel problem because if you go back into the past and you change something and you want to go back to the future, which future do you have now? Is it the changed future plus some extra changes, or
exactly. So now this is going to restore a database to a secondary database, and I'm going to connect to it later on, just so we can see that it's back. But it's going to take a few minutes for it to create. So, all right, while that is happening, let's actually take a step to the side. Actually, let's go to networking. Let's see what networking elements of AWS Amazon Lightsail exist, right? What things there are possible to use, right? So looking at all of these things, we see that we have static IP addresses, right? You can basically create a static IP address and assign it to one of your instances, which is just wonderful when you need static IPs. Your CDNs, you can create your CloudFront distributions in essence through here. Load balancers, wonderful, right? Just creating a load balancer that can manage traffic to multiple instances, to multiple servers running on this one, and DNS zones. Now, this one I haven't seen. I don't know what this does.
I know.
What? Oh, you have registered domain, so it's basically a DNS thing.
Well, it's basically Route 53 under the hood for custom domains. And then once you have that in place, you can then also use the load balancers and CDN to add SSL certificates for your domain. Yeah.
Amazing. So, okay, cool. Excellent. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, perfect. So, we're not going to be doing it with this right now, but I'm happy to see that exists. But I want to see, let's do CDN, because what's your name, Mr. Shaw 1005 mentioned CDN is very easy to set up. So how do we do this? First of all, you need to choose an origin. Now, we have no origins. We have nothing available on this Lightsail to basically serve as an origin, a place that will serve traffic from. And just to explain Kubus, what is the distribution?
So a distribution is, if you think about a CDN, which is I'm not completely sure what CDN stands for. Content distribution network. Yeah. Origin is where it gets the content from to be able to copy elsewhere to serve quickly. Because if you think about it, my little server, I'm actually in a very good position to explain it because I'm in Cape Town. The servers aren't close to me in Cape Town unless I launch in the South Africa region. If, like I used to do all my stuff in Ireland, it takes time to go fetch it. But if there's a CDN, which there is in both Cape Town and Johannesburg, that can pre-fetch that. And when I load the actual website, it loads quickly because all the data is only traveling from those 2 points, or one of the 2 points, which is close to me. So that's why you want to be able to get the data closer to where the end user is.
Exactly. So, like, let's say you have your WordPress website, which I'm just launching right now, in Frankfurt, right? This WordPress is running in Frankfurt. But Kobus wants to access it from South Africa. And he can absolutely do that. But when he makes a request to my website, it needs to go all the way through underwater cables to the UK, I think, and then from UK to Holland, and then from Holland to Germany. to get this thing. And, speed of light, propagation of electrons is fixed, so we still haven't, sped it up. But one of the things that we can do here is we can actually cache the content, cache the static content, cache the things, videos, images Cobus needs to access from my WordPress website closer to him. And to achieve this, we use a CDN, a content delivery network. In this case, in the case of AWS, the default CDN is your Amazon CloudFront, which is great, but it can be complicated to set up sometimes. However, Lightsail CDN seems very simple. So you click on Create the Distribution. Choose your origin. I'm going to say my WordPress instance. It requires a static IP. Okay, let's do this. Static IP. Boom. I need a static IP. I'm going to attach it to this thing, and I'm going to call it static IP DevBeardPress. Create.
Here we go, DevBeardPress.
DevBeardPress. All right. So this instance now has a static IP of this, and if I go to it, I think it should show me WordPress in a moment or so. However, let's go back to this thing. Let me refresh, change origin, WordPress.
You're going to have to refresh the page.
I think I have to refresh the page once more.
Yep.
Choose origin, WordPress. All right. Use the WordPress cache behavior preset. We can apply these settings. There you go. So it automatically actually applies the cache behavior preset. So that's pretty cool, because there are some things on WordPress you need to configure for caching. Yes, apply. So best for WordPress. It can actually show you the settings, like cache nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it will cache these things. WP includes and WP content. This is where your images, your uploads, your videos, files go to, and it will cache these things. And this is, again, so great. I will choose the cheapest one, 50 gigabytes per month. First year is free. Call it distro 1. That's perfectly fine. And that's it.
Yep.
Boom. Boom. So now what happens here is that I have this default domain here. And I have the content being cached closer to Cobus, and those things can be used. And now, basically, my content from my WordPress website, once it comes online or whatever, there we go. The content from this website will be cached closer to Cobus, or, well, to all of you, because it's going global in this case. So yeah, there's a question from Alexander Gamerman. Is there an option to there to invalidate the cache?
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look.
I would expect it to be.
Learn
Default cache behavior.
Reset cache. Reset distribution. There you go. So this would be invalidation of cache. It's not available because I don't think it has cached anything in this case, but you can reset the cache with the big old button here, right? So let's see what the help says. Manual reset the cache for distribution. Otherwise, the cache can automatically clear based on the TTL. After the clear the cache, the next time user requests content, your distribution pulls the latest version of your content from your origin. Sometimes clearing the cache is good if you're especially doing development, because you don't want to be developing on a system that's behind a CDN, but if you have to, sometimes clearing the cache can be just a lifesaver in this case.
And also, just to explain for those not familiar with what the challenge and also the benefit / drawback of caching is, that when we cache the content, it means we take a snapshot of what we currently have on the server and then push it out to all of these different edge locations. And that means that you get that copy which is cached locally and quickly. The fun, however, is what happens when the origin changed and the cache hasn't. Then you get old.
Exactly. So imagine here, WP content, right? This is where I upload my picture. So I upload the picture cobus.png. And it's a wonderful picture of Cobus with hair. And then all of a sudden, Cobus changes his fashion sense, and he shaves his head, and I upload a new picture called Cobus PNG. However, you still see the old picture because it's cached closer to you, and you receive that one. To force you to get the new image, I would have to reset the cache or invalidate the cache, so you will be getting it all. There's also TTL, or time to live, and it's 1 day. So TTL here is 1 day. You can change it to be something else. Basically, what happens here, every day, the cache will be automatically invalidated. That means all the content will be reset, and it will pull from your web server at that time. Well, not at that time. At that time, every new request will pull from the web server until that request is cached as well.
Yeah.
So this is wonderful, especially for global applications. You may think like, oh, it's all the internet. Everybody has fast internet. My web server can sit in Frankfurt. It's going to be fast for everybody. It's not. It's visibly, it's visibly different if you are caching and not. So if you're a user from Japan and you're accessing my WordPress site in Frankfurt, you're going to visibly see that it's going to be different.
It also depends on the routing rules, because
Yes.
we were in a situation at one point in South Africa where we have Cape Town, we've got Joburg. They're about 1,600 kilometers apart from each other, but because of routing rules and things, if I made a request from Cape Town, it went Cape Town, London, Joburg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a couple of things you need to do, right? Custom domains for your Lightsail distribution. You can actually enable custom domains for the distros, right? You can do all of those things as well, but we're not going to be doing anything of that. All right. So let's go back to database. Let's see if restored is working. It is.
Oh, we are restored. Dun dun dun.
It's still applying settings, so it still might take a while. It has a different URL here, and I think it has even have a different password. Actually, check. I want to see if the password is retained, to see if it's exactly the same password. The settings of a database should be the same. I think it should be public as well. Oh no, it's not. It's public mode disabled. So I think only the data is being preserved. So only the things on here that you see, right? So if you would do show tables, lost connection to server during query. Is it really?
That probably is because you did the backups, not the back. I don't think no.
No.
It should be the backup.
Timeout, yeah.
Yeah.
Tables. Yeah, there's no tables. So this is the bad one, right? Status of the restored is backing up. I think it's just doing like an initial snapshot of it being restored. So I don't know why is that the case, but that could be just default behavior of this thing. And this is fine, right? This is okay. And this is where we talk about what Cobus mentioned before. Is 1 hour of downtime okay?
Yeah.
You can go 5-minute increments in the past. And if something went bad, you can just restore that. It takes a while. It takes 10-15 minutes, but that may be fine for you. So,
but just remember, the closer you get to real-time restore, the more complex and more difficult it becomes. Because I mean, I've had the discussion with people like from a reporting side, they said, no, we want to do real-time reporting. I'm like, what do you mean by real-time? Are you happy with a 30-second to 1 minute lag? And they said, no, it has to be up to the second. I'm like, the time it takes when you start running the query and the time it displays on your screen, that's a difference to. But yeah, because the closer you get, the harder it is, because it's getting the most recent data up to that point in time and getting it back over to the other side and ready to take connections and failing over. It's difficult.
It is very difficult, and on top of it being complicated for you to configure and maintain, it's expensive.
Oh yeah,
it can get really expensive. I gave a talk a long time ago about reliability and resilience. The more nines you put into your 99.9% uptime, the more thousands of dollars you need to add to the system, and it's exponentially grows. It's not just like linearly, like, oh, just let it be 9. It really is expensive. Then you really have to stop and think, like, is it worth it? Is this something we really need? And
yeah.
So yeah. Let's actually. I'm gonna wait for that to finish. I want to see the big boy. I want to see how high availability looks like. Can we see anything regarding high availability? We can't. So this is a highly available database running in Frankfurt. There is no difference here. It's still a single endpoint. Snapshots and restores are the same, and that's it. Yeah. There's nothing here, in a sense that doesn't distinguish it.
Yeah, I mean, just once again, just quickly dig in how the high availability works if you use it. So that long DNS name you see up there, that actually points to a specific IP to whichever node is currently the primary node.
Yes.
And when we have something happen to the primary node that means it's no longer reachable, then there's a check that says, are you there, are you there, are you there? And then after a certain period, I believe it's 30 seconds by default, it'll start saying, okay, you're not there. Congratulations, secondary/backup node. You are now the primary.
Yeah.
And then what they do is we update the DNS for you, which means that your app has a bit of a pause saying, okay, I can't write. And then 30 seconds after, okay, now I can write again. And then it's on the backup instance.
Exactly. So you don't have to care about high availability here. You don't have to care about the right primary writes and the secondary reads and whatnot. It doesn't matter, right? In this case, and you just need this connection, the part here, and that's it, right? So, and the question from Grid is the health check performed on the DNS side? I think the health check is a bit more.
No. It's internal to the service, and the service then pushes the change to the DNS out.
Exactly. It makes sure that the database is working, right? If one of the nodes is down, it will just promote the other one into a primary, and it will be here. So you don't have to do a load balancer like you asked. Nothing. It's just it's all self-contained, and this is the case even for your RDS. If you go purely on top of AWS without Lightsail, this is the case as well, where you don't have to worry about that. You can do a lot more, but you don't have to be concerned about a lot of things here. All right, so. There's no difference here to highly available besides it saying high availability here. I'm not sure how can I test high availability in this case, but let's just trust that it's there.
Well, in theory, what you can try, since we've got a few minutes, is grab that DNS quickly for the highly available one. Start pinging it on your terminal indefinitely.
Okay. What would be the best way to do it?
Where's your terminal?
I need to find the terminal. I cannot
just go back to your. Oh, because it's a different machine.
It's a different machine, so it's a different machine. I cannot just copy paste to it. I don't have your. I can do this. Wait.
Yeah, I've got Synergy set up, so I can actually jump between the things with my clipboard most of the time.
So check this out. Kobus. So this is a very old Linux machine. I have nothing here. No key. I have only a keyboard here. So if I go here and I'm connected to my NAS system here. So it's a very small thing, but over on this side, as you can see a mouse moving, that's my NAS. You will see that I can do other. There's the URL. I just copied it to a text file.
There are always ways to get around things for those that are wondering.
Always ways. So if I open up, let's open up a new terminal and then just zoom in.
Unzoomer. Okay, so now we've got, so you can see that now resolves with an internal IP. And we know that by seeing it's 172.26, which is, I'm fairly certain that's the internal IP.
No, it should. I mean, this is not.
No, it should. Big boy, you didn't make public. You didn't make Big Boy public.
Good.
Yeah, so remember that the DNS is public, the actual DNS entry, but it resolves to a private IP.
Smart. There you go. Okay, got it. Okay.
Cool. So it's still, I'm assuming it's sending multiple pings in the background and we're waiting for it. What should happen now is if we, or depending, what version of the OS are you running here? How old is it?
It's new. I mean, can I do something? Ping def?
Because I'm used to, let's see. Actually, you know what? Dig instead of ping. Dig is good.
I have drill. It's the same thing.
Drill. There we go.
Yeah, so.
Cool. Okay, so we can see that it's 44.11. Okay, cool. Now go hit the reboot button. Because in theory, what it should do is it should reboot the primary node first, fail over to the secondary, bring the primary back up again, and then flip back again, if I remember the sequence of events correctly. Okay.
44.
Okay, prefix it with watch. Watch-N1. No, N1 together.
Yes.
Okay.
So
right, let's give it a watch. So this will now keep pinging it, and I would expect, let's say, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Let's give that. While that is going, Darko, your comment made me quickly pull up something. You said you wanted a Quibus with hair without a beard. And what if I added with glasses.
Oh wow, it's that man. That
That was me.
it, the IP changed. The IP changed. Oh,
Yes, there we go. 13.31.3. Yeah, cool.
Awesome. As you can see, Vincent, DNS caching should not ruin this.
No.
I am running this against my little what's it called Pi-hole. Yes, Pi-hole. The little DNS caching blocking service at home, and it's not. No, it doesn't. So there you go.
Yes,
it changes.
and also quickly, just to point that out, if you look at that middle section where you see that number keeps changing, go a bit left, Darko, to the left of that row, where it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can see that's the actual TTL value, so the time to live. And you can see it's a 5-second one, and it keeps going down to 5 and then refreshes, so it's very short.
Yeah, exactly. So usually your standard TTLs, time to lives, are 5 minutes, 300 seconds. But in this case, it's a super short TTL just because of this, right? So 5 seconds is the most you can have between it flipping. So I think this is balls. And I actually didn't know it's gonna resolve to a private IP. So I learned something new today. So awesome.
You can abuse this. I have in the past.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I've set up external DNS. Actually, well, that's actually exactly what I do at home. I have got my public DNS pointing to private servers inside my network, so I can access things when I'm home or when I'm on my VPN to my house. So
awesome, cool. Well, that was kind of it. We've seen a couple of cool, nifty things you can do with Amazon Lightsail. We've checked out how you can launch databases, which is relatively simple, all backed by Amazon Relational Database Service. We've seen that you can launch your content delivery networks with 2 clicks. Wonderful. And that you can also create a static IP address again with a single click. So I find this to be very, very useful, very, very cool, and it works just great, right? Vincent asks, Vincent, when DevOps flow, what's the DevOps flow for Lightsail? Do you know, Kobus?
Terraform.
Yes,
Lightsail is actually supported by Terraform. I'm not sure. Last time I checked, it was not in CloudFormation yet. So
you can do CDK. You can do CDK. I think I may be wrong, right? So, but somebody commented here. I think Gert or somebody else commented here that Terraform doesn't support Lightsail databases. So that's one of the things it's not supported. But but Terraform does support pieces of it. And I'm sure you can kind of make it work. And keep in mind, Lightsail is intended for it can do heavy workloads. But think about if you reach a point that you need to invest heavily into development workflows and infrastructure as code and I'm gonna pedal back. You should always invest in infrastructure as code, no matter how small the system is. So if you are thinking about doing something scalable, something huge, something that requires all of the bells and whistles, think about moving from Lightsail to pure AWS, to some other services there. It may be more beneficial to you. But if you're looking to launch a blog, a simple website, a couple of simple services there, containers, databases, anything like that, Lightsail is a great way to go. With that, thank you very much. I hope we hope you have enjoyed the stream. Make sure to join us next week at the same place, same time. We don't know what we're going to be talking about, but please do follow us on social media. We will be posting there.
I'm going to vote for when to automate. Let's tackle that one next week.
Let's talk about when to automate. Next week, Wednesday, same place, same time, twitch.tv/AWS. Make sure to join us for another session of DevBeardOps, where it's the beard on the inside that counts.
And 10 seconds left. Darko.
See you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.